doing The Birds. In my opinion, The Birds is one of the most impressive feats in filmmaking history. To take a premise as silly as birds attack people for no reason and make it a good film is an incredible feat. I mean, not even as a comedy, just a suspense film. That's an incredible feat. Who else could have directed it than Alfred Hitchcock? This isn't his best film, but this might be his most impressive film, given that he made it off this premise.
I've always thought that with older movies, the way that people act is a lot weirder compared to the way that people act in movies that are made nowadays. I mean, it just felt like the timing between the lines that they were speaking was off with 2 or 3 of the characters.
Oh, that's pretty much how everyone acted back then. I mean, that was just
Mitch,
the acting style.
Well, Mitch, he did fine. I mean, his acting was pretty good. I was actually pretty impressed.
That's Rod Taylor, right?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with his acting, but I mean, the little girl was probably the worst. I shouldn't say little, she was maybe 11.
The kid was probably the worst actor in the film, but I felt like everyone else did a very fine job.
I thought some of it was kind of weird. I mean, when she walked into the bar to get something for her cut, I mean, it was just a little cut, and they were just dabbing it up. Yet 5 people came over to see what was going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'd never seen her before. She comes in with her head bleeding. I thought it was pretty normal. There were moments in this film that were sort of silly, but they were far outweighed by the moments in this film that were very, very, very suspenseful. I thought that the way they didn't ever tell why the birds are attacking is what gave this film its greatest strength. By not explaining anything, it made the mystery more impressive.
I think an explanation probably would have made it silly, like you said, but there's no mystery because no one ever has any clue as to what's going on. They're just there and attacking. It's not really a mystery. They're just no one knows why.
I mean, that's my point. That's what makes it interesting.
But I mean, if usually there's going to be a mystery in a movie, people at least find some sort of clue, and then they die maybe, but there was no clues at all to any reason why they did this.
Well, what I liked about that was that, in real life, are you going to find out why birds are randomly attacking you in the course of one day? No. That's what I thought was so impressive about this movie. It felt pretty real. It felt like a disaster movie almost, with birds attacking people. I felt like this movie was very suspenseful. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock, master of suspense.
I think for me, the biggest problem would have been the ending. It's just, they're all sitting there, birds attack every once in a while. The lady goes up to the attic, gets traumatized after a bird attack. I mean, I thought it was going to be longer after that, but I mean, he just goes out to the car, keeps his cool when birds attack him, and
they don't attack him. They just kind of
peck at his hands and feet.
Occasionally, yeah. And he's saying the birds attack occasionally. The bird attacks come in waves. They'll all attack, and then they'll all fall back.
And what he does is he goes out to the car because the lady has been pretty badly injured, and they need to get her to a hospital for proper care. And he goes out to the car and he turns on the radio, and nobody's allowed to come into the city, but people are allowed to leave Bodega Bay. And then he pulls the car up, all 3 of them get in with Mitch, and then they just drive off. And then you see their boarded up house and a whole flock, mini flocks of birds just perched on different spots, and many of them just walking around on the ground, and it's that's it.
I like the ending. I couldn't think of a better way to end that movie.
There's no conclusion. They just drive off, and that's it.
That's what I like. It's like the ending of the novella, The Mist. The movie ending is different, but the novella of The Mist, I mean, I like that ending. I think it's the best way to end that movie.
I'm just saying, there's no closure to the end of this movie.
Alright, I'm going to give The Birds a 9.5 out of 10. The little girl's acting is pretty atrocious. We're very well done. But there were some noticeable editing techniques. But yeah, overall I thought this is a very impressive movie.
I'm going to give The Birds an 8.5 out of 10. And I mean, there were big parts that I didn't like. There were some parts that I felt this happened for the reason of the movie, but this wouldn't really happen in real life. When the guy lights the cigar and then part of it falls into the big gasoline trail and everything explodes and catches on fire.
Yeah, because it led into the cars.
I know, but I just think you would see gasoline trickling down a street before you lit a cigar.
Whatever.
there were cool parts that I liked too, like when the old lady, the mom of Mitch, she walks into her neighbor's house and sees like feathers, a few dead birds, like one plastered on the window and one just like on the floor dead, and then she sees him slumped in a corner with like scratch marks and peck marks and like blood coming out of his eye sockets because they pecked out his eyes already. I thought that was really, really cool. Like I've never seen that before, so that was awesome.
What's interesting about that, she just walked in as complete silence. Just like
it's like walking into the scene of a crime.
it was very well done. Have a good day.